Hello, everyone. This is one of those and more videos that you see in a title card. And this one is going to be my first film recommendation and review. And the film I want to recommend and review is the 2015 documentary titled Man vs. Snake: The Long and Twisted Tale of Nibbler. I got into this film. I found it after doing research. Based on my desire to watch some documentaries and series about gaming, retro gaming, professional gaming, and I found this film and I watched it, and I would recommend it. Um, if you look it up on Internet Movie Database, you will see it gets a rating of a 7 out of 10 from 2.6K, I guess 2,600 reviews. Uh, whether you like this subject matter or not, I just think is an interesting, well put together documentary for I would say, budget. It's not a Hollywood type of documentary for sure, but it has a lot of interesting characters. They're characters, by that I mean real life people. And it is the story of a young man whose name is Timothy McVeigh, um, which he shares the same name with a notorious gentleman who I'm sure if you all wish to research him, you will find him. Uh, of course, he set a record for the game Nibbler when he was a teenager, when he was 14. And now we jump ahead several decades later, and he tries to break the record again. And I think he's a man of about the age of 40 or so. Um, He was the first at the age of 14 to score, I believe, as the documentary tells you, a billion points in a video game. I never heard of Nibbler, to be honest. I know of the game. I know it is a game of a snake who has to go through mazes and collect things, and the more he eats, the more the longer the snake gets. And if the snake's head touches the body at any point, then you lose. And I know there's a lot of skill based in that, and so I always thought the name of the game was just Snake. I never knew that the name of the game was actually Nibbler, but that was one of the things I learned from the documentary. The documentary has its share of interesting things. It does some animation in it, uh, as well as mainly live action footage. And of course, some of the people involved, of course, are twin galaxies. And you do see Billy Mitchell, who is also the subject of other documentaries as well. And I just found it to be a very interesting watch. I'm somebody who loves film. I also like gaming, and so I would recommend this to people who are, either or. Um, And yes, it's, as I'm playing my games on my video game bucket list and sharing them with you on this channel, you realize that, okay, I'll play this game, I'll complete it, but it's not going to add much to your life other than give you yourself a sense of accomplishment. And that's fine. Sometimes we all just need a little bit of a sense of accomplishment to realize that we can do something that we, you know, couldn't feel we could do before. And so this gives you the encouragement. And you do see that in this film. Um, One of the things that surprised me to, open my eyes, I wouldn't say surprised me, but we talk about professional gamers today with things like League of Legends and Fortnite and other games of that type who are belong to professional gaming groups and their training. You see the young, especially young men at that time who set these records for these games like Pac-Man as well as Nibbler and Donkey Kong. that there is a lot of, uh, it involves a lot of stamina. It involves, because they can't take a break. They have to sit at the machine or stand in the machine for hours. Based on like one quarter, and see, it could be 8 9 hours, and the way that their body has to be in shape for that. And you see that here. It's easier, I think, for a 14-year-old to make these records than a 40-year-old. And I don't want to give any of the story away, but it is, I want people to watch it. And sometimes I look at those feats of stamina and I think of the magician, David Blaine, when he did his so-called feats of stamina. Um, these things are no different. These guys can't take a eating break or a bathroom break for many hours, and their body goes under so much stress, and their eyes are glued to the screen, which, flashing colors in front of your eyes the whole time. So yeah, and their reward, what is their reward? To be put in the Guinness Book of World Records at that time, which, compared to the money that people make today with professional gaming, that's really wasn't much of a reward. But yeah, you get your 15 minutes of fame. Um, I guess the one thing I have a problem with in the documentary is that the young man from America, when he was 14, set the record, and then at around the same time, a young man from Italy set the record, but they wouldn't give him credit for it. It's like, because Twin Galaxies wasn't there, they didn't observe it, and therefore they just did not give him any recognition, which I felt was a little bit, you know, I want to say American arrogance. But the young man who broke the record in America, Tim McVeigh, he himself seems convinced that his score was beaten, and that's why he went out to set a record again. And he does. In the end, at the end of the film, you find out that he does set the record again. Um, but also, in the end, after he sets the record, they finally recognize the Italian man's uh, his attempt when he was a young man, and by recognizing that, which I thought was okay. I mean, they recognized him finally, but that's only after his score was beaten again. So, I don't know. I mean, it's just a little, if you want to talk about being a community of gamers, I think that's like international. True, at that time when they were setting the records in the 1980s, everybody wasn't recording things on their phones and all that, but both of them had recognition in their local areas. The Italian young man, he was actually on TV. They actually show some footage of that. Uh, it's an interesting documentary to watch. And as I said earlier about having a sense of accomplishment, you find at the end of the film, the young man, or I want to say young man, the middle aged man now, after he sets the new record, beats his old record and sets a new record, a new world record in the game. Um, he goes on to something better. He actually changes his job because a better opportunity came along. And maybe that's what he needed. Maybe he just needed to complete this feat to boost himself and encourage himself to do so. Uh, I don't know. It just, that's the way the documentary points it out, and I just think it's an interesting documentary that everybody should check out if you're into gaming, if you're into the history of gaming. And yeah, it's a lot. I give it. I would say, the rating of 7 out of 10 on Internet Movie Database is pretty fair. I think that is pretty spot on. So, yes, please go and check it out. Thanks for listening, and check out the film. I don't exactly know where you can find it, but check it out if you can find it. And thank you.